this contest set for one fall is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle birthday edition. My name is Big Al. That guy right there is Professor Keith, as always. And joining us is one of the prophets of sin, Kimberly Spirit.
Yay! Hello.
So happy. She's so happy to be here. Love it. We appreciate you being on, of course, and we always like talking to you. Mr. Motorman here, huge fan of SWO, of course. Good evening Around the Turnbuckle, and happy birthday, Big Al. Thank you. And whoa, tonight we are delivering into the newest member of the POS. I gotta admit, I kind of like the black.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you. So, the title of this episode, Professor, is Why, Kim, Why? Because we're there getting ready for the show, getting ready for the last SWO show, and the Jeff Becker Memorial Tournament Finals with General Kiesel and Tim Rush. That was great. What a wonderful moment that was. It was a fantastic moment. There was a street fight between the Prophets of Sin and Team SWO, of course. There was a lot of great action last month at Red Lion. However, one of the biggest, most questions that I was asked at that show, what's with Kimberly Spirit? I was asked that several times. Why did she join the POS? That makes no sense. So you and I were just kind of fishing for guests, and she said, hey, I'll talk. So we got her, and now that we got her, I decided to entitle this episode of Around the Turnbuckle, Why, Kim, Why? Because, Kim, are you prepared to answer that question?
Well, first I want to start off by saying I don't owe anyone an explanation for my actions. I think a lot of people just get angry when they see a strong queer woman take control of her destiny and, go into business for herself. But yeah, there's a few reasons why. Some of them are my own, and some of them I have touched on. Like you all might not remember it the same way I did, but it was around April last year when the Masked Man attacks started.
Right.
And everyone was so upset. They were so scared and angry, and the locker room all fractured and turned on each other just like that, because we didn't know who it was, but we knew it was one of us. And I feel like I was the only one who was really trying to put a stop to all of it. And I didn't get a whole lot of help. I did agree to take it off of Zach Carlucci's hands. But yeah, just no one seemed to care until it was inconvenient for them, until it started trampling on their ambitions. And then just watching Benny Slater just do what he wanted and gaining more allies and more power, no one stepped up when it really mattered. So, yes, I can blame everything that I went through on Benny Slater, but if anyone else would have lifted a finger to help me, maybe things would have been a lot different.
Well, one of those guys that have had an issue with the Prophets of Sin is Greg Excellent, and
Big time.
he's kind of working his way through the roster to get to Benny Slater, and his next stop is at the Road to the Rumble on April the 12th. And he said in a recent promo, and if you guys haven't seen it, check out SWO's Facebook page. I think I want the blonde.
But you're next,
So-
you're next on the list. He's beaten Django. He's beaten Suicide Myers. Yes, he gets through you. He gets Benny. That's the deal. Benny said beat everybody else. And if you can beat everybody else, you get your shot.
So how do you feel about that situation that has developed now?
Well, you said it yourself. His next stop is at the Road for the Rumble. Keyword being stop, because it is going to be the end of the road for him. He is not getting past me. Yeah, he outclassed Brother Django and he outsmarted Brother Myers, but I am a whole entire different beast, and he is never getting his hands on Benny Slater.
We kind of saw a piece of that, Professor, right? Because in that street fight, several times, I mean, I've never seen this woman take as much punishment as she has at the hands of anybody that she took in that, and she just kept coming at people. So it's the attitude, but it's also a bit of a toughness that, do you agree with that, Professor?
Vicious is the word I would use. There's a viciousness that's come out now that we never saw before. When you made the decision you made, you broke the audience's heart. I saw people crying that didn't understand how this could possibly happen. And you're sitting here and you're smiling at that. You enjoy that fact.
I do. There is nothing quite like hearing the sound of almost 200 hearts all cracking in half at once.
Wow.
And they, quite frankly, deserved it.
And, I have a feeling that the Prophets of Sin are only going to get stronger based on the fact that since the Masked Man started attacking in April, that's exactly what's happened this past year. Is they've grown, and even by Benny Slater's own admission, one is already with us. He's kind of hinted at that before.
No, he's flat out said somebody else in the locker room is with them. And as much as I want to write that off as just it's another mind game from Benny Slater, at the same time, what has he said so far that's an out and out 100% lie? He may be twisting the truth. He may be twisting the facts. He may be getting in people's minds, but he's not out and out 100% lying or fabricating.
Right.
No. Almost everything he has said has come to pass, so I'm inclined to believe him. But he does love his mind games. And no one in the locker room is truly above his influence. He proved beyond a shadow of a doubt how easy it was to fracture the SWO locker room. And I think the only thing stopping anyone else from becoming just like me and Myers and Django is the realization that there is no one in the SWO worth fighting for, and there is nothing in the SWO worth saving anymore.
I couldn't disagree with that more.
So the motto of the Prophets of Sin has always been change, that there needs to be lots of change in the SWO. Have you drank that Kool-Aid now?
I drink the tea.
Okay.
But you have to admit, things have been changing. Things are going to continue to change. And And I understand why that makes everyone, the crowd, the SWO locker room, Nick Castle, it makes everyone angry because change and growth are so uncomfortable. I understand, but there really does come a time where whatever perceived discomfort change might bring, it's not as terrifying as the thought of not changing. But that's just what I think.
Christopher says, love that you feel so confident. What do you feel is your best ring attitude that makes you different?
My best ring attitude. I don't know. Lately, I've just been feeling so joyful in the ring. Like, I'm more motivated than ever. I feel like I was lost for a long time, but I finally know what I'm fighting for, and I'm having a great time doing it.
Well, speaking of what you're fighting for, two of your brothers in the Prophets of Sin, Myers and Ren, have a match of their own on April the 12th, and that's against Naeem the Dream Brooks, newcomer, man, and he's been something else the past couple months.
It certainly made an impact.
And Prince Piranha. So how do you feel their chances are, Myers and Ren taking on Brooks and Piranha?
If I remember correctly, Myers has had a leg up over Piranha for a long time, and
He blames them for losing the tag titles.
rightfully so, yeah. Yeah, I personally don't think they stand a chance. Piranha isn't at 100%.
That's true.
And Myers knows him. He knows his weaknesses. And, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but Brother Myers has just been on a tear. Like, he doesn't seem to care if he gets disqualified. He just wants to beat the hell out of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, winning and losing
pretty
is
awesome.
Gone bye for him. That's true. He just wants to beat people up, and not that he wasn't scary enough with the mask on, but since the mask has come off, I just think that, like you said, there's that lack of caring. He just does not care.
I'm also given to understand that he's been wrestling for free on a couple of shows just because of the amount of fines that he's been racking up for this new attitude of not caring, not listening, not giving a crap if he injures somebody, doesn't care about wins and losses. And from what I understand, the fines are piling up and he's happily paying them.
I'm happy to hear that.
Greg Winders, oh man, is that Kimberly Spirit? Wow, it was nice meeting you last year. That's the Thundercat from Alabama is who that is.
Oh, well, thank you. It was nice meeting you last year too. I was a different person last year.
Yeah,
she was. Yeah, you missed a bit. You missed some stuff. Greg, I suggest you go on SWO's YouTube channel and check out what Kim here has been up to lately. Last month, man, she was involved in a street fight where, I mean, there was trash cans, there was kendo sticks, there was, what was in the purse, Kim? Like,
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. You were fighting with Robbie Mills over your purse. I think it was Robbie Mills.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd like to know that. Yeah, I mean, Professor, I think you probably thought a brick was in there or something like that, right? Yeah.
I mean, it certainly seemed like that would be the easiest thing to conceal in there, a brick or some kind of hunk of concrete or something of that nature.
I've heard people think that there were like thumbtacks or something inside of it, but I like the mystery. It's like you don't know what was in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. You don't know what was in the purse during the street fight.
That is true. Wow, that's amazing. Do it until you can't no more. Sometimes you got to do what you can to get ahead.
That's the plan.
Yeah, and the prophet, like I said, the prophets of sin have this dark cloud over SWO, and I think it's just going to keep getting bigger. And there's always that there's always that feeling, that eerie feeling when you hear that music and you guys don't come out the entrance. You guys come from the back of the arena or wherever you come from. You don't know where you're going to come from.
Well,
That's the
part of that's
problem.
necessity. None of you are welcome in the locker room.
Yeah, we were pretty publicly. We're not allowed back there anymore. We do not get to experience that camaraderie or whatever. So
Now, now that you've joined them, like, I'm interested to know that, how they've treated you since you've joined them, because obviously you were a target there for a while, and now that you've, joined the team, so to speak, how have your brothers treated you in that group?
they were rightfully pretty suspicious at first. I do have a history of messing up Benny's plans. But it seems like after the street fight, they know what I'm about, they believe what I'm about, and they know that there's not a whole lot in this world that I won't do for them.
We saw that the last video they put out is that Benny Slater made a big production about saying that all doubts are put to rest now and he fully accepts you as part of the team.
Yeah. They haven't been all lovey-dovey or anything like that, but they have been more welcoming than they were the last few months. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where things are right now.
Yeah, last month you guys attacked Ken Andrews. He was in the ring. He was saying he wasn't on the card. He wanted to have a match. So he was pretty much calling out anybody in the locker room, but what he didn't expect to get was to be surrounded by the prophets of sin.
Get jumped. Call it what it was, to get jumped.
You can't say he wasn't asking for it.
He was asking for a match. I mean, he wasn't asking.
I think he was looking for something more like a fair fight, maybe a one-on-one, not, 4 people on either side of him beating him down in a gangland attack.
That's our bad. I think we misunderstood the assignment. I will take this. I will take this information back to my brothers, and we will endeavor to do better by the SWO.
I didn't say it with a straight face.
No, I can't.
Wow.
Oh God.
So Keith, the last time we interviewed Kimberly Spirit, which was several months ago, man, this is a different person.
It is.
This is a different person, and whether fans want to call it she drank the Kool-Aid or whether it was she can't beat him, join him, or whatever you want to call it, she's just not the same person. I don't want to call you heartless, but I mean, there's an element of that. There's an element of you like you said earlier, you're happier than you've ever been because now it's just, you're in with the mission. The mission is for change, prophets of sin, and now you've realized that their mission is now your mission.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you boil it all down, the prophets of sin and the SWO want the same thing. And that is a possibly better SWO. People just don't like the way we're doing it. And let them be upset. Let them, pull their hair and gnash their teeth over it. But I think in the end, they're going to thank us.
They're going to thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that, Professor?
Not even a little.
Not even a little. Okay.
Oh, poor Professor.
But this is the problem, and I've been bringing it up on commentary, is, like you said, you guys are united, and our locker room is not. Our locker room is still fractured. Our locker room is still suspicious, and that's what's got to stop. There's more of us than there are of you, and if we could just get on the same page and stop the bleeding now. but I don't know that that's going to happen. Greg Excellent is picking up the banner. We know Ace Dallas picked up the banner. So did Robbie Mills last month, but it needs to be more consistent. It can't just be here and there, a couple of battles, a couple of skirmishes. People need to recognize that and take you guys at your word. You've declared war on the status quo of the SWO. You will not stop until it is remade in Benny Slater's image and whatever Benny Slater wants this company to be. And anybody who doesn't like that should be standing up, should be doing what Greg Excellent's doing, should be doing what Ace Dallas has been doing, what General Kiesel has been doing, what Prince Piranha has been doing, and get together, get on the same page.
I'm tired of hearing lies all night. This is a POS. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, prophet of sin.
Obviously,
We've established that.
I mean, Myers is here. Piranha's here. You know, one's got one viewpoint of view. One's got another.
Yeah, one's just more correct than the other.
Right. I'd like to know, you know, as far as a wrestling match is concerned, because you do have to have a wrestling match with this guy. How does one prepare for the unorthodox Greg Excellent?
You know, I thought going in that watching some of his matches would help, but it doesn't feel so much like I'm wrestling Greg Excellent as we all knew him.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like just the last two matches with Brother Django and Brother Myers just took so much out of him. Like that joviality isn't there anymore. And God, I look at him and I see myself this past year, everything I tried to do, everything I tried to tell everyone about the Masked Man and about Benny Slater. And like I said, the only thing stopping Greg Excellent from becoming just like me is realizing that this company in its current iteration is done. Some of us just figure it out a little slower than others.
I'm not 100%. I'll show you my percentage against your quote brother.
That sounds hot.
Yeah.
He'll show you his percentage if you show him yours. Oh, I'm so funny.
You are. I admit it. All right. So, Professor, you're not finding this funny at all.
I'm not. I said from the top, you know, I couldn't disagree with him more, and I've been very disappointed. You know, I stood side by side with you when Marshall Moore drummed up that no confidence vote on Zach Carlucci, and we stood there and we were two of the people saying that, you know, Zach Carlucci had our support, and now here we are a year later, and you've completely betrayed the values that you espoused at that point, and you've completely gone over to the other side. You've gone with the guy that cost you the Uprising title. He cost you a championship, and now you're loyal to this guy. You're helping him defend the championship he stole from you, the very same championship. I don't understand it. I can't understand it.
There's a few things I'd like to make clear there. One is that everything I said last year about the Masked Man standing beside Zach Carlucci, standing beside you, I meant every word. Like I said, I was a different person back then. And when I talk about there being no one in the SWO worth fighting for anymore, Zach Carlucci is that person. And as for Benny costing me the title or whatever, he did not. I relinquished, I cashed in my Uprising championship. No one beat me for it. so that I could have a shot at the Unlimited Championship.
Which he then cost you by attacking you right after you relinquished the Uprising title.
I wouldn't say that he cost me it. I mean, did he cost me it or did he just postpone it? Because I feel like I still have some claim to challenge for the Unlimited Championship since that match never started.
I wouldn't mind that.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
discussion.
I wouldn't mind Kim Spirit versus Zach Belmont, Professor.
That's something else we haven't really heard from either side about or delved into is what is your relationship with Zach Belmont like at this point? I can't imagine you're having too many friendly phone calls these days.
Beauty and the Beast Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, we've both been pretty busy. Zach has been very fixated on his SWO Unlimited Championship. He's had his hands full with UCK and Matt Vertigo and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been busy with my extracurriculars. Yeah, we don't talk a whole lot anymore. We never really even talked about everything that's changed. So can't really confirm or deny that we're even still friends. We just never addressed it. I don't even know if he knows. Like I feel like he can't see anything past that championship. Like I don't think he knows what's going on with the rest of the company. He has tunnel vision. So yeah, if he has thoughts, I'd love to hear them, but I don't think he has any.
No, I somewhat doubt that, but certainly you're right. Zach Belmont has been busy. It's been one struggle after another. As you said, he defeated Matt Vertigo. Matt Vertigo returned last month and made it pretty clear that he wants the Unlimited title back. And in his mind, nothing is settled, nothing is done. And of course, we have UCK now getting their handicap match against Zach Belmont after they tried to extort the company. They'll call it a legal action. I call it extortion, pure and simple, which is what it was. But nonetheless, they're getting what they want. It's going to be UCK 2-on-1 against Zach Belmont.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Like, I kind of wanted to see what a lawsuit with UCK would look like. I don't know who that girl was. I'm surprised they couldn't get Journey Burke.
I mean, someone with a verifiable law degree, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like my lawyer is better. I remember Merrick Miami, before I took the Uprising title from him, he was threatening legal action against the SWO.
He was.
I recall that.
They did not even get served a court order or anything because his lawyer is a joke. And mine is she's kind of what I aspire to be. She's very cutthroat.
Yeah, I did hear Miami used to be a client of the firm Dewey, Cheatham and Howe.
Well, okay. Speaking of Merrick Miami, I would love your opinion on. He has a match. He has a fight ahead of him on April 12th. He has a fatal doorway match.
Yes.
Against Evan Atlas. I would love your thoughts on that.
Well, I love a fatal doorway fight. I think last year we had our first one.
Yes.
And that was between, I think Evan was in that one also. It was Evan, Atlas, Trent Farrell, Ken Andrews, and who else? It couldn't have been Merrick Miami. It might have been. I don't remember.
I think he may have been the fourth participant. Yes.
Yeah. So I think Evan definitely has a advantage here, especially because Evan has 2 working eyes.
Part of
Um,
it.
yeah, it's a shame, that terrible accident that happened to Merrick Miami. Um, I,
Accident, nothing. Evan Atlas deliberately threw that powder in his eyes.
I don't know. You know, things get kicked up during wrestling matches sometimes. Like chairs get shifted around, wrenches go flying out of people's kick pads into the audience. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you get a little dust. It happens.
Well, needless to say that last month, then he begged for an unsanctioned fight because SWO would not agree to
Also medically
having.
cleared.
He wasn't medically cleared,
Pure and simple.
so he got his unsanctioned fight. But man, as I remember it, the last guy standing in that was Evan Atlas, and there lies Merrick Miami. Went through Mr. Castle's door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that door is toast. That is no more. Um, and good. It was an eyesore. But yeah, Evan kicked his ass up and down Red Lion. Like,
It was definitely brutal to watch.
yeah,
Mhm.
oof and yikes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm sure that
More did
broke your
what?
heart a ton.
It breaks her heart. Is that what you said?
I'm sure it did. I'm sure she didn't enjoy
I don't
that
think
one little
anything
bit.
breaks her. I think she's this version of Kim Spirit in my mind has a stone heart,
It's
and
called sarcasm.
I don't think it's very hard. I don't think it's very easy to break at these days. But that's my opinion.
You're
But
allowed to have
again,
your opinion.
thank you. But again, guys, like and those of you watching this either now live with us, you can ask Kimberly anything you want as long as it's appropriate. And so throw me some questions for her if you have any. And if you want to see that match that where she said is the end of the road for Greg Excellent, Kimberly Spirit versus Greg Excellent will be at Seven Valleys on Saturday, April the 12th. Doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7. And that's where the road to Benny Slater ends, according to Miss Spirit.
Hmm.
Can you talk about how much you've grown through the business? How do you feel about that?
I definitely feel like I've evolved in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I started, I was terminally shy. Um, and sometimes I do still get that way. I kind of revert back to old habits where I just, you know, I want to keep myself small and don't want anyone to look at me, which is a weird thing to be when you also like to have attention. Um, but I went in just very eager to learn. Um, I I just wanted to get good at it. I still do. I feel like uh, by now I'm closer to the peak than I've ever been before. And that feels really good because I feel like last year I was just trying to get back to the way I was. And now I feel like I'm better than that now. I've been putting in the work, training at least twice a week. Um, I I'm much more motivated. I'm much more focused. Um, I have I have a lot of support uh, from my brothers and other people. Not really SWO people, but um, yeah, I'm really proud of how far I've come. And even now, like winning titles, like it never really mattered to me. I thought that winning the Uprising title was like the culmination of all my hard work and effort, but more than ever, I feel that now.
Professor, you care to comment on that?
I mean, there's no doubt last year you were on maybe the run of your life. And as you said, culminating in winning the Uprising title. And I think that had a huge hand in changing Merrick Miami's attitude and Merrick Miami's outlook and bringing him down the path he's on now, where he's a bit more humble, a bit more motivated. And certainly, I would say in some ways, depending on how this injury shakes out, depending on how things go in the fatal doorway, certainly a top contender once again for any title in the SWO. But yeah, going back to you, obviously, last year was quite the roller coaster. In a lot of ways, it was the best of times, and then it was the worst of times, and now here we are today.
Mm. Yep, I think all of the trials and tribulations were worth it just to bring me to this moment.
Well, I wish you the best of luck against Mr. Excellent. I know you'll have a game. I know you'll have a game plan. And Professor and I are looking forward to calling the Road to the Rumble in Seven Valleys on April 10th, or April 12th, rather, Saturday, April 12th. But then shortly thereafter, a couple weeks later, on Friday, May the 2nd, we'll be back at the Reynolds Middle School in Lancaster for Reynolds Rumble 5. And no matches have been announced for that quite yet, but that event will be rapidly approaching. And so get your tickets now. It's first come, first serve. It's really every time we have an event there, it's loud, it's crazy, it's full. You don't want to miss out on the Reynolds Rumble at the Reynolds Middle School in Lancaster on May the 2nd. And of course, Kimberly and the Prophets of Sin will no doubt be in attendance.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be great. This year, I don't have to pretend to like kids or anything like that. So I can just tell them how I feel and, I don't know, probably crush their heroes right in front of them.
Pretend to like kids. So you're saying that you, in the past, have pretended to like kids. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or at least those Reynolds kids. Like, they're ugh.
Well, they love their Mr. Andys.
I was going to say, I hope Ace Dallas isn't watching this, or I'm betting you're going to have a match that night. And I know who your opponent's going to be.
That would be bad news for Ace and his students if it's me.
Well, it could be. And you know, if God forbid, Greg Excellent somehow gets past you, maybe he might be getting his hands on Mr. Slater.
I doubt it.
I believe you, but I'm just saying there is a possibility. You know, there was a possibility that the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. It just didn't happen. You know what I mean?
I think he has as good a chance as they did.
There you go. There you go, Professor. Hey, like that.
No comment. But as we said, Greg Excellent, should he defeat Kimberly Spirit, he would have presumably a matchup sometime down the road. Certainly, Benny Slater did not clarify when that match would take place.
Yeah.
Should Greg Excellent earn it. Also, another thing that we haven't talked about a lot is Benny Slater also has the King of the Castle briefcase. Benny Slater could cash that in at any time for a title shot. And now we know General Kiesel as well, of course, winning the Jeff Becker Memorial Tournament. He has a title match of his choosing sometime in the near future. He has not indicated when or which title he's going to go for yet. I think we all assume it's going to be the Unlimited title. That's certainly what Zach Belmont did last year with his opportunity. Was not successful, but kept plugging away, and finally in December did win that championship. So there's a lot of stories in the SWO right now, a lot of what ifs and a lot of intrigue, shall we say.
Well, speaking of intrigue, here's a great question from Brother Myers here. He's like, dream opponent or opponents for Kim Spirit? There you go. That's a good question.
In the SWO, it's funny. In the last few years, one of my dream opponents was Greg Excellent.
Well,
I just find him kind of annoying now, but better late than never. I get to have that match.
you do?
What?
No, I said you do. You do.
I do.
You get to have that match.
I do.
But he's going to get a vicious Kim Spirit. I mean, he's not going to get jumping up and down and waving at everybody, Kim Spirit.
No, not at all.
And nor is she going to get fun-loving, joking around Greg Excellent. You've got Greg Excellent.
I kind of miss that guy, though. I miss the coming out and dancing with the fans guy like that. That was fun.
No, he's wrapped himself in the banner of SWO now, and he's decided that he's going to be the guy to take it to the Prophets of Sin, and so far he's 2 for 2.
Well,
we'll see if that continues.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like, it's strange that he would rather be that than just be Greg Excellent.
So since you have that match with him, is there another dream opponent or opponents on your list?
Matt Vertigo.
Really?
Yeah. These are 2 people that I wanted to face, and I was scheduled to face last year, and then things just didn't work out that way. Outside of the SWO, I do like comedy wrestlers still. A match with Colt Cabana would be really cool. Let's see. I know there are women wrestlers that I want to face. I'd love to face Zoe Cannon again. She was a lot of fun. Probably anyone on the AEW roster. Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Timeless Tony Storm, Mariah May.
I was going to say, you got to mention, of all, you started naming AEW female wrestlers, and I'm like, if she doesn't say Tony Storm,
oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I admittedly don't like a lot of what some of AEW does, but everything that Tony Storm has done, I can't not watch. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I have to watch. If she's going to cut a promo, I have to see it. If she's going to have a match, I have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It's just I'm addicted to Tony Storm now. Timeless Tony Storm, what she is now, not what she was in WWE or even what anything like that. But
she really didn't have much of a character in WWE.
Well, I'm just saying this version of Timeless Tony Storm. I mean, Professor, how can you not root for Wonder Tits? You know what I'm saying?
That was quite something.
Well, Thunder Rosa.
I just keep sitting there and thinking back to they're on freaking TBS, and I remember TBS used to bitch at WCW if somebody accidentally got cut or got even close to a dirty word. Right. And now AEW has people impaling themselves on spiked boards, saying tits on television.
Yeah. This ain't a bad word.
Did they just fire standards and practices? Are they in a room somewhere? Are they locked up? Do we need to check on them? Should we be doing a welfare check?
WWE is on Netflix, so they have a little bit more leeway with what they can say and what they can do and things like that. So they've been But AEW's been swearing for a couple of years now. I mean, at different points. I mean, they haven't been dropping
Me,
F-bombs.
I just always think less is more, and some of this stuff feels a little like we're doing it just because we can, or we're doing it to get the lowest common denominator audience to pop. And to me, it's like, I don't know, like, when you had what Cody did with The Rock, fine, because it fit the moment. And as long as
you had Cody Rhodes say, "Go fuck yourself,"
and
to
as
The Rock.
long as you don't go back to that for a really, really long time, and it has to be like a similar kind of moment, it works. If you just start coming out tomorrow and it's just Cody Rhodes' gimmick now as he tells everybody to go fuck themselves, just to do it. Like that old.
I wouldn't mind that, really.
I think it was in Living Color. There was a sketch with Jim Carrey where before he became Jim Carrey, well before that, like he tells his boss he'll see him in hell. And the whole office is like, oh, you told him, that's amazing. And then because he gets so happy and he gets such a rush off of it, they preface it like for the next few weeks, he kept telling everyone he'd see them in hell. And then he's just randomly saying it when it has no context or anything, where it's like, oh, hey, how's it going, Bobby? I'll see you in hell. And it's like, you can't do that. And I feel like that's sometimes the mistake AEW made. And a lot of promotions and a lot of shows and a lot of people make that mistake where it's like, well, it worked once, I'll just keep doing it. And it's like, no, it's gotta be right. It's gotta be for the situation. It's gotta be rare. I think blood still has a place, but it's gotta be the right time and it's gotta be sparing. Hardcore matches and violence, and that has a place, but it's got to be the right time. It's got to be spared. It's got to make sense.
It has to matter,
right? You shouldn't just put it out there to do it.
Yeah, like I'm so relieved that when Tony Storm and Mariah May had their Hollywood ending, that the blood still meant something. The language still meant something. Everything they did meant something. And then you have like Jon Moxley coming out and he gigs within like 3 seconds of the match starting on every match. And it cheapens it. Like I don't like people doing it just to do it, because
like I think
it
AEW
cheapens,
fans
like,
are
actual
sick
blood
of him.
feuds.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I think AEW fans are sick of Moxley. I do. And they just kind of tolerate him because they're like, okay,
the ratings seem to back that
he's
up.
He's part of the show. Okay, let me get to the part that I tuned in to watch.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us are just waiting for him to be toppled, for somebody to take the belt off him, and for the Death Riders to just
disappear,
fizzle out. Yeah.
Right. But again, like with all wrestling, there's you watch what you want, you watch what you like, you don't watch what you don't like. It's that simple. You don't have to like it all. There are fans that we talk to that love all of it no matter what, and then there's fans that like kind of the old school way, maybe a little bit more, and then there's some fans that are younger that like modern wrestling the way it is. And so there's a mixture. When you go to these shows though, when you go to SWO, you get a little bit of all that. You might see a classic match. We saw Cody Rhodes versus Prince Piranha. Those are two veterans who got in there and had a wrestling match. A very contested, really good wrestling match. And then we saw a damn fight between you guys and Team SWO. So again, you get a little bit of everything at almost every SWO show. So kudos to you and everybody else, because that's what keeps them coming. And I'm telling everybody that's watching this, if you've never gone to an SWO show, man, get your butt to Seven Valleys.
Mm-hmm.
Come on down to Lancaster at the Reynolds Middle School on May 2nd. You'll see something, because man, that's what happened to me and Keith. We came down to a show. several years ago, and we haven't stopped coming because, I mean,
Now
yes,
it's
we're
yes.
well, yeah, now we're happy to be there now because we're part of the team, but at the same time, man, we got addicted first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our
And
shows have a lot of variety. And I think that's what most successful indie companies have is variety. Like, I do see like, deathmatch tournaments where it's a top to bottom card full of death matches or something.
right,
And I would never yuck anyone's yum, but that's not a show that I would want to go to or even
Yeah,
watch.
that's where I'm at.
So like having a little something for everyone, I think that's how you get the fans who know what they want, and you might even introduce them to something they didn't know they wanted.
right.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Very, very true.
is there anything or that you would like to say on behalf of the prophets of sin or maybe geared towards Greg Excellent because we're winding the hour down. I just want to make sure we cover all the bases that you want to cover respectfully.
Um, I'll just echo what the prophets of sin have been saying all along, and that's just that change is coming, whether you like it or not. Again, I think in the end, it's going to be change for the better. For the better of who? Probably us. Um, but yeah, I'm I'm excited for what Benny envisions for the SWO. Um, and as for Greg Excellent, like I don't know how many people remember this, but it just occurred to me that when I was conducting my investigation, trying to figure out who the masked man was,
Mhm.
um, I I confronted Greg in the ring after he and Simon had won their tag match. And I asked him how well he knew his former tag partner in Order 69, because he had been attacked and kind of left Greg high and dry. And I didn't think that the attack fitted the masked man's MO, so I suspected him.
Right.
And like I believe you can find it on YouTube, um, where Greg just tore into me and shouted me down for daring to suggest that someone he would associate with could have done something like that. And then what did we learn? That he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't the masked man, but he was one of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just putting that out there that, Greg Excellent has been wrong before. I'm still waiting for that apology, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I will.
Um, but yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone of that.
I remember that. I remember that, Professor. You can't deny that. He
No,
he
and
yelled at her face.
he did, and she's telling the truth. It did turn out that his tag team partner was Benny Slater's first accomplice in all of this.
Have you discovered or invented any new finishing moves since last year?
Um, nothing new, I don't think. It's very hard to invent a wrestling move.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just innovation or outright theft.
Or your version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting your own personal flair on it.
Right.
But I have learned to love the stunner.
Yeah.
I've been using that as my finisher for a little while. Before that, it was the graveyard shift,
Mhm.
which was akin to Charlotte Flair's natural selection.
Right.
I felt like the stunner just felt better to perform for me. I haven't thrown a crossface out there in a while, but I'm thinking of putting one on Greg on April 12th.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, of course. I don't
Thank
know
you.
if the professor will echo that, but not next Saturday, which it's the following Saturday. So a week from Saturday, it is Seven Valleys, Pennsylvania. It is SWO Road to the Rumble. It is doors open at 6 o'clock. Bell times at 7. General admission is $20. And I'm telling you, fans, if you have not seen an SWO show, get your butt to Seven Valleys and check it out. It is a happening. It will be a happening. That Kimberly Spirit and Greg Excellent fight will be exactly that.
And if
And
you want to get caught up, YouTube, SWO on YouTube, type it in.
Yep.
We've got
Yep.
all of our shows going back and back and back up there.
Yep. You want to check out the Gauntlet for Glory, which was that January, Professor?
February.
Or February show. February show was Gauntlet for Glory, and then last month we were returned to Red Lion. It was the finals of the Jeff Becker Memorial Tournament. It was General Kiesel and Tim Rush. It was, that street fight we mentioned. You got to check some of that stuff out on SWO's YouTube channel. Professor had to call there. But again, we always love talking to you. Even the new you.
Well,
And we wish you the best of luck on April the 12th. And in the meantime, Professor, you have any parting gifts for POS Kimberly Spirit?
I think I've said all I need to say about the prophets of sin and where I stand with Kimberly Spirit and her decisions these days.
Yeah, I think silence is a valid option.
Yeah.
On a personal note, I want to thank everybody who's wished me a happy birthday today. I also want to say that the professor and I will be back here next Sunday with another hot seat victim, and we'll ask the burning questions, and we'll you never know what's going to happen. So tune in every Sunday at 7 o'clock on YouTube and or Facebook. Professor and I, you can follow us on Around the Turnbuckle on all your social media outlets. You can join the Around the Turnbuckle Facebook group, especially if you're looking to promote upcoming events. It's wide open, and it's got about 1,000 followers now in the tri-state area. So it's a great place to promote upcoming events, including SWO Road to the Rumble on Saturday, April 12th, and the Reynolds Rumble itself on May the 2nd, Friday, May the 2nd in Lancaster. Go to the SWO Facebook page for information on both. And Ms. Spirit, thank you very much.
Thank you.
In the meantime, for the professor and the one and only Kimberly Spirit, this is Big Al. This was Around the Turnbuckle. We'll see you guys next week.
You think you know me?
Oh, yeah! Hey, yes, man!
Calculations are correct when this baby